Hi, today's video is about recommended books for Celtic paganism. I'm going to be covering books on the Celts in general today. There will be other videos on specific Celtic cultures. As usual, I'm a big fan of primary sources, and there are two books I'd like to recommend for primary sources for this. The first one here is called A Celtic Miscellany. It's translated by Kenneth Jackson, and it has excerpts from sources from Irish, Scottish, Gaelic, Manx, Welsh, Cornish, and Breton. Fairly short excerpts. Some are longer, some are mostly stories, but most of them are essentially poems. There's some very good ritual material in here, and there are hints here and there of myths and information about gods and goddesses. It's mostly useful for getting a feel for the style of writing that the Celts had, and if you're interested in writing rituals in a Celtic style, it's good to have a feel for that. The other book is called The Celtic Heroic Age. It's edited by John Koch and John Carey. Both are very highly respected Celticists. This is a collection, again, of various sources from the different traditions. There's a large section at the beginning that has quotations from the classical sources. So there's actually information here on the Gauls, which is rather rare in books on the Celts. There's the Book of Invasions, the first recension. There's the Welsh Prydianon, which is the taking of treasures from the other world. There's the Godolphin in here, which is the earliest Welsh source. A lot of really good information in here. This is the first edition. I know there's at least one new one out, which I'm sure is just as good or probably even better. Those are very useful for getting a feel for what the Celts were really all about. This book was probably my first book, and might have been my second, that I ever read on the Celts. It's Celtic Mythology by Proinsias MacCana. Dr. MacCana was a very highly respected Celticist, died a few years back. And what he's done here is truly amazing. In this book, which as you can see is fairly short, he has hit on all the major myths, discussions of the various important deities, all the while including a lot of pictures. Somehow in this short amount of space he's been able to cram in all the important material. It's an easy read, it's authoritative, it was used in fact as a textbook in a course I took on Celtic paganism at Harvard, so it's highly respected. I just can't say enough good things about this book. A little bit heavier, Celtic Heritage by Alwyn and Brinley Rees. It's mostly Irish and Welsh, and it's divided up into different sorts of stories. One on births, things having to do with the center, elopements. So it's arranged by topic. They write from an Indo-European point of view, especially Dumazzilian point of view. So it's good for getting a feel for how the Celtic traditions can be related to other traditions, and how you can interpret them rather than just tell the stories. If you're not interested in Dumazzilian material, well, maybe it's not the book for you, but I would still recommend at least being familiar with it. This is Gods and Heroes of the Celts by Marie-Louise Sjoestedt. It is what it says it is. It's on gods and on heroes. There's a section on the mother goddesses. There's an entire chapter on Samhain. Short book, easy read, quick read. These next four books surprised me when I was going through my library to pick out books to talk about here. They're all by Miranda Green. I have some problems with some of Miranda Green's material. She has a tendency to put forth her own theories as if they were just the way things are, or as if they were accepted scholarship. So when you read her, you have to watch out for things like that. Particularly watch out for anything talking about wheels. She has a bit of an obsession with wheels, anything that's a wheel is somehow connected with the sun, and therefore any deity that is all connected with wheels is somehow connected with the sun, which doesn't make much sense to me since the thunder god Taranis is connected with the wheel. And you can say the sun equals celestial equals storm, but I really think that's kind of pushing it. So watch out for her emphasis on wheels. The first of these books, it's edited by her. It's called The Celtic World. It's a number of articles written by a variety of different people on different Celtic subjects. There's sections on technology, on the economy, on the Celts in Europe. There is a section on pagan Celtic religion. I have 3 or 4 articles on that. Warriors and warfare, society and social life, and so on. One really good thing about this book is that it talks a lot about Gaulish material. Unfortunately, when you look at books on the Celts, very frequently they'll say Celtic, and really what they mean is 90% Irish and 8% Welsh and then 2% other things. This is a really good correction for that. You can tell a little bit by the fact that the cover is it's a head from Bohemia. It's not that well known, so it's a good indicator that the book is going to have some material that isn't that well known also. The Gods of the Celts, also by Miranda Green. It's arranged by topic. There's a section on animals, a section on water gods, war, fertility, and so on. Some really good pictures in here. It's good to see how things can be arranged and how they can be interpreted. Dictionary of Celtic Myth and Legend. As it says, it's a dictionary. It's arranged in alphabetical order. There are sections on just about everything having to do with them. The different deities are listed here. I'm just looking at one here on Nehelania, for instance, which is accompanied by photographs of images of Nehelania. It's very good for photographs, particularly of Gaulish deities. Again, it's Miranda Green, so watch out for wheels. This is her most recent book, as far as I know. It's called Cesars Druids. It's specifically trying to figure out what the priesthood of the Celts was like, but there's just an awful lot of other information in here. There's a lot in here that I didn't know, a lot of archaeological information, a lot of images and temples and things like that. There's one here, for instance, of a statue of Mercury that is carrying a rattle. Who knew? And there's a good section here on Druidic, the Druidic toolkit, tools that might have been connected with religion, and also on dress connected with the religion. So this was a pleasant surprise. I'll list the names and titles of these books in the description, and if I come up with any websites that are important, I'll include those as well. Celtic paganism is a really big topic, and there's an awful lot of crap out there. I recommend, besides just recommending these books, I recommend that when you look at a book, you first of all look at the publisher. If it's an academic publisher, then that's a good sign. Look at the author, look at their qualifications. It's quite possible for someone without official qualifications to publish something quite good, but you only have so much money and so much time. So look at the publisher, look at the author's qualifications. After a while, you'll get a feel for what sort of authors and what sort of books are reliable, and then you can start checking the bibliographies of these books, and you'll get a really good feel for whether the book itself is to be relied on. If you open up the bibliography and it includes Robert Graves, I'd hesitate to get it. I might look up in the index to see whether maybe they're just trying to talk about how Robert Graves is wrong. But you have to learn which authors are reliable and which authors aren't reliable. I say get these books and dive in. If you only get one of these books, it's got to be this one, Celtic Mythology, Prentice MacCana. Like I said, easy read, lots of pictures, and somehow I still managed to cram in all the important information. I'll be doing separate videos on the Irish traditions, the Brythonic traditions, and the Gaulish traditions. So look forward to those. Thank you. Bye.